some. So here's a look at the stepladder. We'll begin with Anthony Simonson, who rallied to get into this 5 spot, taking on A.J. Johnson. He's been riding momentum as well in the finals last week in the Illinois Classic.
A 13-time PBA champion with 5 majors, Anthony Simonson.
Randy, when you think of personalities in the sport, when you think of talent, this man is so compelling.
There's many out on this tour that think Anthony Simonson is the most talented player out here.
"27 years of age.
Absolutely dominated the U.S. Open, falling short in the title match to Kyle Troup, and pretty good opening shot just to leave the solid 9 there by Simo.
Cleans that up.
He earned his first PBA Tour title at the 2023 Storm Lucky Larson Masters. A.J. Johnson.
So A.J. Johnson, at the age of 31, second at the PBA Illinois Classic last week, defeated Jake Peters, then Sean Lavery Spar. Lost the title match to Marshall Kent, but said it's all about coming off that, having short memory on tour, getting rolling again. That's a great start.
Simonson leaves a solid 9, and A.J. Johnson trips the 2-8.
His arsenal.
He's using the Jackal Ghost. You gotta love some of these names, right?
Yes.
Jackal Ghost.
Creepy.
I think it's pretty cool.
His girlfriend, Allie, about 3 weeks away from being due with a baby boy. It's a great time for A.J. and his family. Allie and her family watching back at home. They got to be smiling right now.
And what better time to start bowling really well on the tour, back-to-back shows, when you have a little one on the way.
Yes. So a dynamite start for A.J. Johnson. What makes this guy's game so special?
He can do anything with a bowling ball.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, it's right.
Simonson going with a gem to start. And oh boy, was because it was left at target, and he pays the price. Now looking to slide the 3 over into the 7.
He said throughout the week of qualifying, he didn't really have an understanding of what the lane was asking for. Whoa!
He's got a pretty good understanding of how to make that, huh?
You said he can do anything.
He can tilt it, he can roll it, he can throw it 100, he can throw it slow, he can hook it side to side, he can go straight. He can throw a backup ball and win tournaments. There's nothing this man can't do. And I think what's interesting about what you just said, he had trouble figuring out this oil pattern this week and still made the telecast.
A little better.
On the spirit of Pete Weber today, who joined the PBA Tour at the age of 17. You've got a guy in Anthony Simonson who was the youngest player to win a major at 19 years, 39 days in 2016 at the Masters.
Youngest to win 1 major, and then 2 majors, and then 3, 4, and 5.
Look at our format. This is different from the Illinois Classic where we saw match play, qualifying games throughout the week. A.J. Johnson. That's a situation.
I think it's a testament to the players that continue to make multiple telecasts. They're doing it on different oil patterns and different formats. O'Neill, Tackett, Simonson.
AJ with an average of 227.3 this week. 62% on strikes. And this is the first time he's left this all week.
Yeah, it's the first time he's left that all week, and you get all of our great stats just like that one from our great friends at Lane Talk. You want to be a better bowler? Head on over to lanetalk.com. And isn't it ironic that last week A.J. Johnson's issues were on the right lane?
Yes. He said it's all about finding a way to get to the advancers round, putting games together. He said, look, no one wins every time they're on TV. He learned a lesson last week, but it says a lot about him that he's here again on another show, back to back. And that is much better for A.J. Johnson. 3 strikes.
Pete Weber with the commissioner, Tom Clark. Next to Pete, his wife, Renee. And happy belated birthday to Renee. Her birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Renee.
Now Simo can extend the lead to 26 with 2 more here in the 4th and 5th frame.
Ah, 10.
Come on. Good shot coming off of the 2nd frame where he went through the nose, but he still converted, which keeps him ahead here in game 1.
Coming off one of the best years in tour history. First bowler ever to finish in the top 10 in every tournament.
2nd in points, 2nd in money, 2nd in titles, 2nd in everything. I mean, what a season he had.
And isn't it interesting when you ask him what his goals are for this year, he said, I don't make a goal list.
No, he has no goals. His mindset is the same week in and week out. But he's been winning some really big money tournaments. And so right now I think a lot of his focus goes to the 6-figure tournaments, as he calls it.
Simo is finding momentum here in Springfield. He's the number 5 trying to run the ladder.
Okay, so it says...
Back to A.J. Johnson. 6-time runner-up on tour before he won his first career title. Last summer, the Storm Lucky Larson Masters in Sweden. But now it's about winning in the States. Looking for that breakthrough. Oof. Unforgiving with the 8.
Well, and on this 45-foot dragon oil pattern, remember the lane's only 60 feet in length, and ball speed is paramount. You get a little too fast, and the ball doesn't have enough time or enough room to pick up and get to the pocket.
AJ finishes it off. We've got a good one brewing here early in Missouri. Again, also on today's show, you got Matt Russo, the lone southpaw. You've got E.J. Tackett, the reigning player of the year. And you have the hottest player on the tour, the Players' Champion, Bill O'Neill. This is a stacked Pete Weber Missouri Classic. Would you expect anything different for Pete?
No.
Last year, the winner of Springfield Classic, Sam Cooley, defeating Kevin Williams. AJ is cooking. So he's finding a bit of a rhythm here as our first matchup rolls along with Pete Weber. Who do you think you are? He is. February 26th, 2012, the 69th U.S. Open, Bolero, North Brunswick in New Jersey. Pete Weber defeated Mike Fagan 2-15 to 2-14 for his 5th career United States Open title, the most U.S. Open titles of any bowler in history.
I was there. Called it. He climbed the ladder. Every match came down to the 10th frame, and he needed that hit against Mike Fagan. It was incredible.
Back to the two-hander and Simonson. And Anthony has a lead.
Yeah, now it's 16. And a nice break after leaving that ring 10 on that right lane.
Terrific feature on Anthony Simonson in Rolling Stone from the writer Zach Harris. In it, feature says, like John McEnroe, Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, and pro bowling's most famous face, Pete Weber, Anthony's temper and the intensity that it takes to win are two sides of the same coin.
I mean, look, you get written up in Rolling Stone, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and there it is. If you have not seen this yet, folks, give it a read when we're done here, because it really takes a deep dive on this kid who, he talked with us earlier today about, at the age of 15, entering bowling tournaments, driving without a license just to make money. He said bowling was survival. Now bowling is not only that, it's his greatest joy because he was able to survive by bowling.
Yeah, it's a really incredible story about where Simonson was and where he is today. It's a great read, and unfortunately for A.J. Johnson, he's faced with the 4-7-10. Remember the last shot on the right lane, he went light. Shot before that, he went high. So again, right lane, back-to-back weeks has got A.J. Johnson's number.
The right again. So where he stands right now as we head to the 8th, Simonson in control as Johnson asks for a re-rack. Need a strike.
2 opens in the last 5 frames for Johnson, and Simonson strings 3 in a row. So there's your big swing. 38 pin advantage for Simonson heading into the 8th frame.
We know that the left has been kinder, and he needs it in the biggest of ways right now.
He struck every ball in this lane thus far.
The 10 would not give.
Soft 10, running out of time. So hard. 1-game matches. These matches fly by, and it seems like it's just a matter of seconds, and there's no time.
He bowled the best block in this entire tournament this week.
Just no time.
Weird.
You make the wrong move, you make the wrong guess, wrong ball choice, and 1 or 2 bad shots, and it's over.
And you combine the fact that you're facing...
There's a deadwood on the left lane.
This gentleman.
Where's Vinny?
Sorry, we can't reset it until the ball on there.
Okay.
Deadwood's got to be cleared out because Simonson doesn't like looking at it. I don't blame him. I'd have it removed as well. And Vinny is not part of any kind of mob. He's part of our television crew.
All right, Vinny. You'd have it removed too.
Vinny's actually from the St. Louis area.
right, come on.
A homecoming for him.
Not bad. Right down the road.
And he got on national TV. Pretty good week.
He's very sneaky.
That's Vinny.
Boom. Well, I'm going to channel the inner Copernicus in me and say this match is over by the math.
I'd rather.
Now, mathematically, no, but for all intents and purposes, yeah. 199 max score for A.J. Johnson. And you can see Simonson's max score, 257. Another 9-pin on the left lane for Simo.
And that's happened.
Just a pinch inside, John.
But he is on his way towards moving on here with Matt Russo, the southpaw, the 3, awaiting him. That's an interesting dimension to this Sunday.
It really is the only southpaw we have on the telecast. I mean, if he develops something on that side of the lane, you never know.
AJ, finish like the champion you are.
And Anthony Simonson has never met Matt Russo on TV. Russo, we'll get to him in a little bit. For Johnson, back-to-back weeks of getting here. Last week, getting to the final against Marshall Kent. But this afternoon, not as kind. An early exit for A.J. Johnson. Well, that was pretty something to smile about. For A.J. Johnson, that's pretty cool. With the goat.
Pete Weber was one of the best ever at converting the 3, 6, 7, 10 in any combination. 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. I mean, Petey was the absolute best at it.
I messed up the right lane on you guys.
Yeah, what the heck, Pete?
It's
all that rev rate.
Joking with Tom Clark, the commissioner of the PBA. What went wrong for AJ?
There's not being very good shots. He hasn't really made an adjustment on the right lane. Kept going high. This one was thrown out the window.
Still for him, back-to-back shows. He's got his game in the right place.
Thank you, Springfield. You're an absolute legend, Pete. Thank you so much for participating in my tournament. You're an absolute legend, man. Thank you so much. Absolutely. I really appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's the beauty of this sport on display. Well, how's the rest of the ladder feel about this guy moving on?
Uncomfortable. One thing you don't want is for that man right there to get comfortable, and he's going to follow the transition. He's going to look at hooking it a little bit more as the oil transition, as the lanes break down and dry up in front of him. He'll start migrating left, start getting a little softer with his ball speed, and start opening up his angles.
Anthony Simonson is the type of guy, he said, there's an anxiousness when I start a show, but once I figure some things out,
Yikes. Nice ball, bro.
everything can come into place. Looking for his first. April 25th, 1987, Tournament of Champions at Fair Lawn, Ohio. Pete Weber defeated Jim Murdishaw, 222-190 for his first TOC title. He won his second in 2013. Think about that, Randy Peterson.
Yeah.
26 years later, he called this his greatest victory, the first Tournament of Champions his family ever won.
And the infamous pair at Riviera, 27 and 28. And some great memories over the years, some great history.
And this week, our Bull TV highlights. Pete Weber bowled his last game on Thursday on the PBA Tour here at Enterprise Park Lanes. Very emotional as the 37-time Tour champ, 10 major championships, caps it off.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
It's hard for me to watch. So many years competing with Pete and competing against him, and
Thank you so much.
And just seeing it all, ending. It's tough. It's tough to watch, honestly. But what a phenomenal career. One of the best ever.
All right, here's where we stand. Anthony Simonson, the 5, will now take on the southpaw Matt Russo, the lone lefty. Reigning Player of the Year E.J. Tackett is awaiting with Bill O'Neill as the 1.
He won his first PBA Tour title in 2021 and is the 2021 PBA Rookie of the Year, Matt Russo.
What do you like about him?
You know what I like about Matt Russo? I like his head. I think he's got a great head on his shoulders, a great attitude. He's a very engaging young man, and we're going to talk about some of the big changes that he's made over the last couple of weeks coming into this.
That's a great start.
Whoa, that thing went sideways down the lane. He does have one of the best jerseys on tour. That's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action right there.
Yeah, that is high level. And this is really cool. Matt lives in Baldwin, Missouri, 2.5 hours away. He bowls league with Pete Weber on Wednesdays.
Yes, he does. Wednesday nights with Pete. Hello, 10-pin.
For Simo.
Simonson's scary good. I mean, he's a savant. And bowling's beautiful mind. He sees shapes and then he just steps up and figures out how to create whatever motion he wants.
As a kid, he clocked more hours on the lanes than he did at school or home. He jokes, Randy, that he was fired from his first job, restocking rental shoes, at the age of 5. Get fired at 5? Because he got in trouble with his kindergarten teacher.
Why am I not surprised?
He probably knew more than her.
I'm sure he did.
Just has a genius about him. That's what Tom Clark, the PBA commissioner, calls him. He's done things that you'd be doing messing around to win titles, like when he used a backup ball.
Yep.
Arsenal for Matt Russo.
Theorem 3D offset is what Matt's going with.
Back-to-back jacks.
And that's a ball change on that right lane for Matt.
Let's send it over to Kimberly.
Well, guys, Matt's wife's Lauren unfortunately wasn't able to make today's telecast as she's the head coach for the women's collegiate bowling team at Maryvale University. And they actually have a tournament today, but ironically, it's being held at the Hijinks Bowl in Jonesboro, Arkansas, where Matt won his very first PBA Tour title.
All right, let's get back to his Arsenal real quick. That's a great story, by the way, but he's using Theorem on the left lane, 3D offset Pearl on the right.
Theorem on the left. Theorem works. 3 straight for Russo. And this is the element of having a lefty as one of the 4 left standing.
Well, I thought it was real interesting when we spoke with him a couple hours prior to coming on the air. You know, he talked about, well, if I set the lanes up the right way, and I asked him, I said, well, how are you going to do that? He said, well, I'm going to throw some urethane, push some oil down the lane. I'm going to use that as hold because there's plenty of friction out.
And he's taken his thumb out of the ball, something that we'll get to. Simonson answers. We've got a good duel.
Yeah, we'll talk
Can I have
about
a re-rack, please?
Matt Russo and his son the next time he's up, but that's a big change also that he made about 3 weeks ago.
You know, we referred to this guy as that genius, but I want you to take me a step further. What about him just mentally makes him another step above?
The great ones don't really analyze how to do it. They just do it. You know, if you were to ask him, hey, well, when you're trying to do this or when you're trying to do that, how do you go about it? I don't know. I just do it. I'll give you an example of that here in a sec. Nice hit, nice break there for Simo to cut the deficit to 10. So a while back, I'm asking a buddy of mine he's on the PGA Tour. I said, hey, you know, when you're trying to hit this little shot here, you know, that real spinner or whatever, how do you do it? And he goes, I don't know, I just do it. And that's not what I was hoping for. I was hoping for like a detailed explanation so that I could possibly do it. Oh, no, I don't know, I just do it. That's Simonson.
The recipe just takes care of itself. It's not always laid out on a list.
Beauty. Another great example of that is Pete Weber. Pete Weber was never an analytical guy.
The PBA LBC National Championships have a new location, Bolero Mount Prospect, Illinois. Competition will be taking place. You can compete in singles as well as optional doubles and team events. Even combine your scores with the pros. Enter today at pba.com/LBC tournament. PBA LBC National Championships open to bowlers of all skill levels and from all centers. Oh, no. After 4 straight.
I think it's the worst break in our sport because you hit the pocket and 99% of the time you come away with an open frame. It's only been converted 4 times in the history of professional bowling on television, the last being by a southpaw in Anthony Nyer.
Can a Ninja Turtle do it? Open.
Getting back to Simonson and the way he sees things, you know, Pete Weber was that way. When a ball rep or a tour rep got involved with Pete, it wasn't to tell him how to throw it. If he needed to make some kind of change, the ball rep would just grab a bowling ball and say, here, throw this one. And Pete would go, okay. And then he would make the adjustment, and it usually turned out pretty good.
Simo's on a heater and keeps it rolling.
And now he takes the lead right after that hit there, courtesy of the pocket 710 by Matt Russo. 6-pin, second to the right, goes to the sidewall, kicks the 10 out.
On Bowl TV after his comeback Friday night to make this show, Anthony Simonson said the lane conditions were different due to the rain.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that. No, I'm not surprised. Got a hook. Oh, did. Boy, that came around the corner nicely. Look who's got a 14-pin lead. A high-friction oil pattern, even though it's that long. The key, again, ball speed. And we're looking at some numbers that are extremely low based on what we normally see. Simonson is in the low 17s.
Russo.
Something's buzzing over here.
Well, at least it wasn't you or I, John, that
It's back here.
that did that time. Simonson within 0.3 of a mile per hour with every shot he's thrown this game.
Wow. Cell phone buzzing of some sort.
And now, of course, Pete's going to get on him.
So Matt took his thumb out of the ball 3 weeks ago.
Yep. You can see it right there.
Why?
Well, he wasn't doing very well with a thumb in, so he said, we got to try something. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Look at how far left that shot is right there. Taking his thumb out, he said, well, more power, more hook, more revs. And he liked the way it felt, and he stayed with it. Get the ball to the right side of the head pin, cut it into the 4-7, or this way. And ricochet off of the head pin into the 4-7.
1 for 2 this week. Oh boy. That changes everything.
You know, it's interesting is that the Lane Talk stat numbers for Russo coming off of an open frame throughout the 36 games of qualifying this week was that after an open, he struck 69% of the time. Not that time. Big open frame and another big opening for Simonson.
Strikes here. It was great catching up with him earlier today because he said when you bowl with Pete Weber in league, he said, I see a side of Pete that maybe not everybody sees. When you know him personally, he's a different guy. You obviously know him personally. How is he different?
Well, you know, Pete is a good guy. He's got a kind heart, and he's a good dude. Stand by. Great shot by Simon. Now, on the lanes, Pete was not a very nice person, but in his mind, that's his stage. That's his workplace. Don't mess with him when he's working. And we've seen it so many times. You know, the Mount Vesuvius eruption of Pete Weber, and you certainly never want to antagonize him. But off the lanes, as you see him sitting there with Commissioner Tom Clark, off the lanes, Pete is a genuine guy, and he's been a friend of mine for over 40 years.
5 straight strikes for Simo, make it 6.
Yeah, and that's what great champions do, right? They take advantage of openings given to them by their opponents. Simonson with a 4-pin in the second, everything else strikes.
Simonson looking to book a date with E.J. Tackett. Whew. Who he has beaten 3 times in their TV showdown. 3-0 record all time. 10.
Well, unfortunately, Matt Russo's not going to win this game, but he's got a lot of really good stuff to build on. And again, you hit it. You said, hey, he took his thumb out of it like 3 weeks ago. And so you can already see the hard work paying off for Matt. And he's just going to use this as another building block.
This is going to be an incredible final 3 that we have left here at the Missouri Classic.
Best 3 on tour.
Yep. The best 3 players.
Yeah, base spare.
Some scheduling news. Due to the weather in Florida, you're right. Matt Russo, Kimberly told that great story earlier of his wife Lauren being down in Arkansas with her team, Maryville University, which is in St. Louis. Lauren, the head bowling coach. Matt called Lauren his rock. She is the ultimate motivator to him. Grew up in New Jersey. Mom Maria, Dad Tom, they're here. He certainly has a lot to be happy about going forward. We'll see how the momentum builds. 1 title in his 6 years on tour. Just 27 years of age.
All right, come on, good shot.
U.S. amateur champ in 2017.
Heard the buzz. And just
Yeah,
the
that's
buzz.
the buzz, yeah.
Simonson, that runner-up finish at the U.S. Open, now looking for his first win. this week, and he is on his way to being one of the 3 left standing. I mean, could you have imagined it for Pete Weber?
The attention star.
For Pete Weber, a better
right
final trio?
Yeah, I got 20 pins.
And Simonson, Tackett,
Do I need?
And O'Neill.
He's looking at the scoreboard. He's not even going to shoot the spare. He's going to throw a strike ball with a different bowling ball. He's been slowly migrating towards the center part of the lane, but he's looking for another shape right here.
Strategic.
That's
what makes Simo Simo. I mean, he is always one step ahead of the game, always kind of calculating the next move.
His next move is E.J. Tackett.
Well, I'll tell you what. You want to be the best, you beat the best.
It's going to be fun. Grab your popcorn. There won't be a Sunday showdown.
Hey, this is your 3rd consecutive show, even though you're coming off an injury to your bicep. And in your own words, you said you struggled this whole week. You had lots of ups and downs, and yet you're here in, the number 2 seed today on another show. So how is it that you keep just making it happen to find yourself on these shows?
It's all about keeping up with ball reaction as we go throughout the tournament, and just paying attention to what's happening on the lane. Try to stay ahead of the moves. Try to stay as patient as possible. Make all your spares. Which, kids, that's very important. You got to make all your spares. You can't get here without those. So, doing all those things and having it all come together is part of the consistency that I'm able to put together. And hopefully I can go out there today. Simon seems to be pretty locked in, and he's a great bowler and great competitor. So I'm going to have to go out there and hopefully get off to a good start early and see what we can do.
It's going to be a good match for sure. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Here's a comparison between the GOAT, Pete Weber, and where E.J. Tackett stands. 30 years later, winning that 20th tour title.
Yeah, E.J. was just like 14 days shy of breaking Pete's record.
Unbelievable. You have a combined 34 PDA Tour titles in this matchup. 9 majors, and Anthony 3-0 all time against Tackett.
And combined, they're not as old as Pete.
Are you making
27 and 31? I mean,
what an insult by you.
A 21-time PBA Tour champion with 4 majors, the reigning PBA Player of the Year, E.J. Tackett.
3rd consecutive championship round appearance for E.J. An average of 228.5 this week, 65% on strikes. That's how you start.
Commissioner Tom Clark called this man the modern-day Pete Weber in terms of talent.
A different personality.
Polar opposites, yeah.
He talked about there being a will, as Kimberly just brought up a little bit. Let's take a look at the arsenal first.
Yeah, primal shock. Go ahead, John.
And you talked with him about this as well this morning, that when his season started with the biceps injury as well, he wasn't at top 4, but he's finding it now.
Well, you're right. He said, no, I'm not tip-top, has brand new baby boy. Life gets in the way sometimes, but he said he's there now. Nice break to start there for E.J. Tackett. Remember, the first couple of frames, the hardest for players coming on, just trying to get their feet underneath them. .234 game 1, 247 game 2. Simonson on cruise control.
10.
Using a really strong ball with surface, and there's going to be a point where he's going to have to change bowling balls if he continues to leave a flat 10, especially on that right lane.
He talked with you about using a ball with a little more surface
A
today.
bonus to stay
To
back
start.
there.
On the fresher oil pattern, a lot of surface. Remember, the oil pattern's 45 feet in length, and it's extremely long. And the players need to have some snow chains on that surface to make that ball dig in.
He also said third or fourth game he would take a step to the left and throw it really slow. Are you seeing that?
Well, he hasn't done that. He hasn't had to. He's just been slowly migrating. Slowly migrating throughout each of the last 2.5 games.
How does this guy approach it?
Well, you know, EJ is high octane, high rev rate, speed and power. He's going to be playing the lanes pretty close to where Simonson is playing, I think.
An early exit on our show in Illinois last week. Messenger. Oh. Man. Table for one?
So EJ Tackett about 4 boards right of where Simonson's playing, but he's using a shinier piece of equipment. He's also 1.5 miles faster with his ball speed. So right now, Simonson's slower and shaping it more, right? Stronger bowling ball, earlier rolling bowling ball. Tackett, a little bit right of that, a little more speed, a little bit less surface.
What do you like more?
Whatever they like.
What were you?
You know, here's the thing, though. Simonson, if he continues to leave flat tens with that bowling ball, he's going to have to get out of it because that much surface, when you start to increase your angle, ball burns up, doesn't have enough hit when it gets to the pocket.
A little bit more speed from Tackett to a strike.
He's really good. I mean, Simonson's really good. EJ Tackett's really good. And then the tournament leader, O'Neill.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You have to go through one or the other, whoever advances here, to meet the PBA points leader thus far this season and the players' champion.
You win this tournament the way it's shaped up to this point, you've earned it. You've beat the best in the world.
It's a major level. Fitting for Pete Weber.
There's the ball change right there.
Uh-oh.
Never came around the corner. 2-4-8-10.
So the adjustment occurred. An adjustment immediately causes as big of a dilemma as he's had today. Not good. Tomorrow, it's a special day of women's college hoops on Fox. First at noon Eastern, Paige Beckers leads 15th-ranked UConn against Creighton. And at 2, 14th-ranked Indiana battles Illinois. It all tips off tomorrow, President's Day, on Fox. All right, Randy, what's your thought process here?
Well, he's staying with the ball he started with on the left lane. Ring and 10. But that still has enough shape, right? Ring and 10's better than a flat 10. When you're a right-hander, you're leaving flat 10s. For a lefty, it'd be a flat 7. The ball doesn't have enough energy going through the pins. And that's why he made the ball change on that right lane, right after a flat 10.
So Tackett with a 23-pin lead at the moment. 3 strikes and a spare. As you take a look last week, he struggled. He was on our show. It was really never dramatic at all. Jake Peters cruised. Just didn't have it.
No. Like he said in the interview, can't beat a bad ball reaction, ever.
Okay.
Another pocket 7-10, this time by a right-hander. Last game it was Matt Russo, the lefty. Matt Russo left it in the 5th frame of game 2. EJ Tackett leaves it in the 5th frame of game 3.
Well, it's fun to watch the world's best take on this challenge.
Only 4 times made in the history of bowling on television on the PBA Tour. 3 of those by lefties. What do you make of that? You know who made the first one ever? The great Mark Roth.
And you've done it too.
Yeah, but it was like a made-for-TV event in Milwaukee, or not, I think it was in Madison, Wisconsin, years and years and years ago. You might be able to find it on the internet somewhere.
I can't find it. It was in black and white. Whoa.
It's got a split, too. Of course it has to split. Why wouldn't it?
So now Tackett has a dilemma of his own with the 410.
Well, if he gets one here, we're going to be all even going into the break.
How about this?
Yeah, I mean, pocket 7-10 unlucky, and that's not real lucky as well. First time he's left that all week.
We are even.
Yeah, a couple back-to-back.
Fanta, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler with you. So here is where we stand at the moment, evened up as Simonson hits the 6th.
Simonson actually took a re-rack during the break, going back to the gem on the right lane, the ball he started with. Remember, he did change balls and ran into the 2-4-8-10 split in the 4th. And there's the flat 10 again with that ball.
So now what?
He's got to get out of it. I think he knows that. He tried to get a little softer with his speed on that shot, and it still wasn't enough to get up the hill and kick the 10 out.
Deadwood.
Talked about Deadwood just now down the frame. There it is again. Second time that he's called that out.
Yo, Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny's getting a lot of TV time here. There he is. Good work, Vinny.
Still moves pretty good for a man his age. Don't tell him I said that. All right, Simonson, first bowler to ever win 5 majors before the age of 30. Incredible career he's had. 13 wins, 5 majors. He's 27. So he'll make another move on that lane. You can see that one just creeping up a pinch high, leaving the 4-pin. But the big question I have is what ball is he going to go to on the right lane?
That is the $1 million question. He cleans that up.
So just maybe a 2-in-1 move with his feet on that left lane. 2 boards on the approach, 1 with his target. But the right lane, I think he's got to get out of that ball and get into something else.
Back to Tackett, the 4-time major champion. Already with those 21 career titles at the age of 31. That's 13th most all time. But EJ's got a dilemma here.
EJ.
You can see the break point and the positioning at the arrows that was left, and leaves the 3-6-10, which you must pay respect to. Cover all 3 pins with the bowling ball.
And he gets away with it there. And
Fortunate, very fortunate. A fraction away from having 3 opens in a row.
A look at our all-timers for the Triple Crown. Of course, Pete Weber's among those. And you see EJ, Johnny Petraglia,
Dom Barrett. How about Dom Barrett?
Yeah. Norm Duke.
Got to show Dom some love.
EJ said he got emotional watching Pete earlier this week. Bowl his last frame.
Look out. Yeah, that was big left again, and it looked like it was grabbed at the bottom of the swing.
I'm so scared now, bro.
You heard him say it.
EJ.
Like he's scared to let go of it. The spare here will be tied up again.
So bad.
EJ needs to execute better. Simonson needs to make the right ball choice on the right lane. Simonson will finish the match on the right lane.
Well, we've got serious drama between arguably the two best in the sport. Evened up as Simonson hits the 8th, and here comes that question you were talking about.
Staying with it.
You like it?
He's just going to do it with his hand, his ability. Now he's just going to try to shape it different.
He's left that 10 twice in a row.
Not just any 10. Soft 10.
What happens here? 3 times. Fool me once, fool me twice.
And again, remember, he has to finish the match on this very lane. Back to back to back, week 10s.
You can't do a 4th, can you?
I think a lot of it's going to have to do with what EJ does. He knows he can hit the pocket. And if it comes down to just staying out of trouble, he'll stay with it.
I guess that's my question is he thinking my alternative options still aren't as good as this one?
I think EJ dictates that based on what he does in the 9th and 10th.
It's a stare down. I would lose to you in that. The left is treating him well.
Well, you see the numbers there as John's going to read something about Just Bear, aren't you?
I am. The Just Right Strike is brought to you by Just Bear, the mindful choice for high-quality protein with no antibiotics ever. Just Right, Just Bear.
And Just Right Strike right there for Anthony Simonson setting up the 10th frame. But both players, if they take it to the sheet, if they sheet it, strike out, EJ Tackett will win by 1.
Both players looking for their first title this season.
Hey, look at that, John. Another flat 10 on the right lane. All right, so spare here, and if he strikes out, it's 193. He would force Simonson to double on the right lane.
Ooh, boy. That's some theater with Bill O'Neill awaiting. The winner of this one.
And Bill O'Neill's watching every shot in this match, I promise you.
Yes.
He gets choices starting lane and where to finish, right? I promise you he is not finishing on that right lane.
No. Finishing on the left. There's no question about that. That's the advantage of being the number 1. So, we hit the 10th.
I mean, if EJ strikes out, does he force Simonson's hand? Does he force him to make some kind of change?
I would imagine yes. After back to back to back. Soft 10s.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, what a break that is.
That's Will. He willed it.
This is a huge break. It keeps him in this match. Just nudging the 4 forward. EJ moved a good 3 boards left on that shot. Got it inside just a little bit. And a huge break tripping the 4.
This is theater. This is what he talked about with us this morning, that when you're one of the best, you figure it out. You find a way. And right now, it is that stare down between these two. Will he force Simo's hand on that right lane? EJ Tackett, big time!
EJ Tackett, EJ smack it. What a shot coming off of that trip 4. He kicks the 10 out. Guess what? He's going to force the hand of Anthony Simonson. But this next shot's still very important. With a strike on the fill, he forces Simonson to get at least 2 in the 10th.
Come on.
John. What a finish by E.J. Tackett. The huge break trip in the 4, and then he flushes the next 2. Simonson on the lane that he's left back to back to back flat 10s. Has not struck on this lane this entire game.
2 strikes and 1 pin to win. And gets 1. Oh, can you feel it in Springfield? With Pete Weber looking on. The GOAT, and we're getting an incredible finish between these 2.
Simonson's going to take it, his second re-rack of the game. Must strike on this next shot, or it's over. And E.J. Tackett will advance to the title match against Bill O'Neill.
A strike and 1 to win. Oh my goodness. Anthony Simonson!
That's right. Come on.
Incredibly clutch.
Well, you talked about E.J. Tackett willing it down when he tripped that 4. Simonson stays with that ball. He left 3 consecutive flat 10s with, and then went light with back-to-back shots that carried for the win.
In a battle between 2 of the world's best, Simo is moving on to the final.
Come on. It just goes to show you how hard it is to win on this tour.
He was tricked out. Back to the PBA Pete Weber Missouri Classic. Let's go back to October 2001 PBA Great Lakes Classic in Michigan. Pete Weber in his semifinal match facing Steve Wilson rolled 11 consecutive strikes. 11. Left the 8-pin on his final ball for $299. You remember this. He would defeat Parker Bone in the championship match that day for the title.
Yeah, that was a pretty electrifying evening.
Man, those shades are epic.
Yeah, there's the 4-pin for $299. And then I had to go down to the floor and interview Pete right after that. I'd never done an interview before. I was terrified.
It was one of your first shows, right?
It was my 4th show ever.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And now there he is, Pete Weber announcing his retirement earlier this week. So here we are at the Pete Weber Classic, and could you have asked for a better final to set the stage? Anthony Simonson versus Bill O'Neill.
How about a better semifinal? You know, Simonson was in 10th going into the last round of this tournament. The last game, he starts with the front 9, shoots .279 just to get into the stepladder finals. Last game, he threw the last 4 to get to the title match against O'Neill.
So we're in the presence of greatness here between Pete Weber and the remaining 2 players we have, the field that we had here this week in Missouri. So it's a perfect time to give advice to you young up-and-coming bowlers, and that is the topic of our pressing questions today with Kimberly Pressler. It's presented by Go Bowling.
Tom, what's the best tip or advice that you could give to someone who's just starting off bowling?
Practice, practice, practice. Practice spares, practice spares. You can make up so many pins just becoming a great spare shooter.
It's one thing to practice, but you've got to have the competitive reps in you also to get better.
Bowl every tournament. Just get all that experience. There's nothing can replace experience. There's no amount of practice that you can have that can replicate throwing a shot to cash or to make a cut or win a tournament.
There's a lot of events nowadays for kids to bowl. Youth events, Junior Gold, Junior Team USA, PBA Junior.
Not necessarily a bowling tip. I think it applies to life. Control what you can control. I think that's been very important. Something I didn't really follow this week. I missed a cash by 10 and a cut by 80.
The first thing that you need to do is go to the pro shop and get a ball that fits your hand. Having a proper fit can keep you from creating bad habits.
Your dad, Chris Barnes, had to have given you some good advice or some little nuggets throughout the years.
Follow your dreams, follow your passions.
Now tell us what he really said to you.
What he really said? I mean, there's so many things I could really say, but you can't really say them, you know?
Have fun.
Just have fun.
I am all about having fun when you're bowling.
If you enjoy it, have a good time, I can promise you you'll bowl better.
We're having fun here after match number 3, in which Anthony Simonson defeated E.J. Tackett 203-193 with that 3-bagger to finish it off.
Pete, what does it mean to you to round out your illustrious career this week in your home state, you know, with a tournament with your name on it?
You know, Tom Clark called me a couple months ago and said, we're going to name a tournament after you. We came up with 7 names. Dick Weber, Don Carter, Earl Anthony, Marshall and Mark Holman. You know, it's just unbelievable the people I get to be associated with. It's really
amazing,
astounding. It really is. It's very overwhelming.
Outstanding, and outstanding is going to be this next final match. So let's get to it. Are you ready?
I am absolutely ready for this, and I can't wait to give that person the title. Can't wait.
Well, the great Pete Weber, and what a final this is. Bill O'Neill, the hottest player on tour. He has been on a roll. He is the Players' Champion already this season, won our first event, those 14 titles. To Simonson, 13 titles and 5 majors between the two of them. 8 majors.
Ball change for Simonson on the left lane. Guess what, John? Simonson's going to finish on the right lane, and Bill O'Neill is going to finish this match on the left lane.
And Simo starts right where he left off.
He goes to an attention star. You can see just how much shinier that surface is, so that's going to help the ball get through the front part of the lane and help it store energy as it goes down the lane.
A 14-time PBA Tour champion with 3 majors, the real deal, Bill O'Neill.
Bill O'Neill has been on an incredible run to start this season. Now he has to go through Simonson. This is their 3rd meeting on TV all time. That series even at 1 apiece. Call this the rubber match. First in 4 years. Oh. A little bit of fortune leaves a 6.
Yeah, nice break, tripping the 4 and the 7 out. 10 goes down, just the 6-pin. Shot looked pretty good to me, and I think Bill was a little surprised at how much it overhooked down lane.
Randy, what a run this guy's been on. 9 consecutive top 20 finishes dating back to last season's Cheetah Championship. 6 straight top 10 finishes.
Take a look at Bill's arsenal. He's going with the Theorem.
Won the Players' Championship out in Wichita to start our year. 5th at the U.S. Open a couple of weeks ago. And that's why, with shots like that from Bill O'Neill.
Well, 2 good shots under his belt to start this championship match. Just old school Bill O'Neill at age 42, still getting it done at the highest of levels out here on the PBA Tour. Just an amazing, amazing athlete.
Battle to back. Feels like he's playing his best. Simonson on this right lane. Boom.
You know, and that's the change I thought he would have made. He did. He left the 2 for a 10. And I think he just moved too far to the left when he did make the ball change. He's inched it back just a hair to the right. But that was the right change, and you can see how much different that shape is. Both players are playing these 2 lanes identical.
See, at 19 years of age, winning the Masters, youngest player to achieve that accomplishment. Works out 20 minutes off the Vegas Strip at the Compound, a mansion. Feeling good right now. He's big time, so it's only fitting that he does his work in Vegas. Working at a mansion owned by professional poker player Chris Hunichin. Back to O'Neal. 3-time major champion. Here they go.
Now, ball speed and location, just a board different from the last 2 shots for Bill O'Neal on that right lane. Ball speed identical. Got him. Yeah, that one got him.
Oh, you're going to be kidding.
What happened?
Wow. Ball never picked up. It looked a little bit fast, maybe a half mile an hour fast, but the ball speed today has been unlike anything I've seen in a while. It's really been soft and slow, and you have to again on the longer pattern.
He told you this morning, my misses, those shots that go too much to the right, I'm trying to be too perfect.
Yeah, he said sometimes the tendency is to be, or try to get too perfect, and then his swing kind of gets behind him a little bit, and so on the downswing, his angle's too sharp to the right. But I don't really think that was the case on that shot.
No.
I think the only thing that I can surmise based on the strike track numbers is that he was a hair fast with that shot, but I'm not sure it was fast enough to leave the 2-4-10. Now Simonson working on 3 in a row, trying to climb the ladder.
10. Again on the right.
Good shot there by Simo. Pretty good numbers there.
For what it is worth,
go ahead.
He is trying to become the first since Jason Belmonte in last year's Tournament of Champions to climb the ladder from the 5 spot.
Belmonte did it from the 6 spot. Over 2 shows. Can't remember the last time I saw ball speed this soft. And it just goes to show you what it takes to be a top-level professional, right? I mean, we're looking at speeds of 16.2, 17, 16.8. That's soft. Normally, we see guys that are approaching 20 miles an hour.
Can you explain to the viewers at home why we're seeing that?
Because you have to be softer on the longer patterns to get the ball to turn over. You have to give the ball time to respond, right? Remember, 60 feet in length is the length. Well, if the oil pattern's 45 feet long, you only have 15 feet left. And then especially when you get in and you start to try to create shape, got to give the ball time to hook. Now, if there's a lot of friction, this shorter pattern, they start to really smoke, that's when you up your ball speed, right? You try to delay hook.
Now, can O'Neal respond? Give that ball a chance to respond. That's a resounding one for Bill O'Neal. One he needed when you look at that board. Our uninterrupted championship match. That one playing in.
Down 24, looking to cut it to 14 with a double. Through 5 frames, championship match.
He averaged 5 pins more than anybody else this week in the qualifying. He's just been on. A points leader on tour thus far this year. Say it again.
Hook on this lane. One gets further right.
Remember the last time we saw Bill at the U.S. Open when he went back-to-back 5-1s on the left lane of the championship pair here? He goes back-to-back 2-4-10s on the left lane.
Oh, no. And now Anthony Simonson is firmly in that driver's seat towards his first win of 2024. And when you consider what he had to do to get here in beating Tackett.
Through the last 4 to beat Tackett, through the front 9, the last game of qualifying to shoot 279 to get in. And now he's working on a 38-pin lead. Can increase it to 48.
Back to that right lane. He's figured it out. The genius that is Anthony Simonson.
Have a re-rack, please.
There's the difference in the ball change. This time he kicks the 10 out. Last game against DJ Tackett was leaving that soft 10.
He's just got an amazing story. His parents, the Rolling Stone feature on him, it said they worked too much and never made enough money. Benjamin sold diesel parts. His dad, his mom Teresa, worked at a grocery store. Anthony wasn't in school. The bowling center played babysitter. Now he's on top of this sport. 10.
Again, look at the ball speed there, 16.5 miles an hour. He's making really good shots. He's very confident with the ball choice. He learned a little bit from his last match against DJ Tackett. And he's in complete control through 7 frames.
I loved what you said earlier when I asked you, how does he do it? What's the method behind it? And you just said, sometimes the great ones, they just do it. And that's that confidence playing out in real time. So now O'Neal needs one. And does get it.
You have some players that are real analytical. You know, David Ozio back in the day was like that. Chris Barnes, myself even. And then you have players like Pete Weber and Anthony Simonson, where they just, okay, I'm going to go with that ball. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to throw it there. I'm going to make it do this. And they really don't think about mechanics. Bill O'Neal constantly working on mechanics. One of his biggies is making sure he doesn't tip early. Cannot get the ball around the corner on that lane, and he can't believe it.
I thought this was the good lane.
And neither can I. And yeah, you're right, Bill.
If that doesn't sum up the gauntlet of a TV show, when you think something, it's the other.
You know, he even told us in our interview this morning with him, you know, I'm going to get enough practice. I'm going to get enough practice on the TV pair. So I should have a pretty good understanding. I'm going to watch all the bowling. He knew the left lane was better, and yet he's open 3 times in a row in that lane.
Is there such a thing as you're waiting around for 90 minutes and you're sitting there, there's tension as to one? Can it ever backfire?
No. I mean, I don't think so. Look, again, 1-game match, it's brutally tough to win, but for whatever reason, O'Neal got fooled on the left lane. This guy's, he's locked in. He knows exactly what both lanes are giving him. And then that freezes your swing up.
Anthony Simonson blown out by Kyle Troup in the U.S. Open. A questionable strategic decision there just 2 weeks ago. Conversely, this week he chased down the leaders through that rousing 277 in his final game to sneak into the 5th spot. Amazing to think that. Snuck in here and now is tasting it.
Anthony Simonson just won the
Anthony Simonson is your Pete Weber Missouri Classic champion. And how fitting is it that the most polarizing figure in the sport, with another polarizing figure and legend watching him, the legend of Simo continues to grow. His 14th PBA Tour title.
Chip in a chair. That's all we need, right?
The satisfying moment of the match is sponsored by Snickers. Nothing satisfies like a Snickers.
Well, as it turned out, whoever got through the Tackett-Simonson match was going to win this. And Simonson caught a couple of really nice hits with those light mixers in the 10th frame to squeeze past E.J. Tackett. Makes the big ball change for the title match and just executes.
The first since Jason Belmonte to start a final show as the 5 and climb up that step ladder. Anthony Simonson has done it. His first win of the 2024 season, 2 weeks removed from that heartbreak at the U.S. Open. He gets on the board. And when we said, what would this mean? He said, look, it's the next tournament. I want to be a Hall of Famer. I'll start focusing on Indiana tomorrow. But for now, RP, he'll enjoy this one. And what a win over Tackett to get here. This guy is as compelling a face in this sport right now as any.
We did it.
You did do it. And that is awesome.
Special. Special. I love you, man. Thank you. Absolutely. No, thank you.
That's emotion. That's one of the sports legends greeting a guy who's forming his own legend. Let's toss it to Kimberly.
Oh my goodness, it was really wonderful watching you guys hug that out. I can see the friendship right here. But Pete, please do the honor trophy presentation.
Anthony Simonson, thank you so much for winning the first inaugural Pete Weber Missouri Classic. It is an honor and a privilege to hand you this trophy.
Anthony, what does it mean for you to win here today in front of Pete?
You know, obviously we lost the owner of Storm, Bill Crispin, a few months back. Pete's been with Storm for a long, long time. Probably the greatest win. I've been fortunate enough to be with SPI all 9 years of my career. This is special, Bill. This one's for you, buddy. We missed you. We're going to keep doing our things out here. Obviously, my sponsors, Rotogrip Classic, 3G, Turner Janitorial Service, Bowler X. What a week, man. And this one's special. To have that guy's name attached to this one, I'll remember this one for a long time.
Special indeed. But let's talk about the match and let's talk about the week, because in our pre-show interviews, you said that you started off strong, but then you struggled. You said you just couldn't figure out what the lanes were trying to tell you. You did not seem to have that issue today. What was different?
You know, when I stepped up and made the double on the right lane, obviously it was time a few frames before that to get out of that ball. It's kind of one of those spots where it's a ball I'm comfortable with, a situation I'm comfortable with, get up and make a couple good shots. And I kind of knew today what the game plan was going to be. It was going to use that gym as long as possible. From that, we were going to go to the Attention Star. And the Attention Star's got me a lot of strikes the last couple days. So it's a special win. I bowled to 79 or 77, whatever it was to make it. So just kind of riding the emotional high from that of getting an opportunity to make the show. And if I get an opportunity, I want to try to take the most of it.
Well, you absolutely made the most of it. Congratulations on your win today.
Thanks.
27 years young and now 14 PDA Tour titles.
Thanks for hosting, bro.
Anthony Simonson. His greatness is epic.
Thank you.
And he takes it home as he embraces the PBA commissioner, Tom Clark. What he did to beat Tackett in the semifinals.
Storm guy won my tournament. Absolutely. Thank you.
And that scene with Pete Weber is everything that this sport stands for. Two larger-than-life personalities.
Much love. Much love, Pete. Much love. One for Pete.
What'd you see? What'd you see from him?
Greatness. I mean, you talked about Hall of Fame somewhere down there. He's got all the Hall of Fame credentials. He just has to live long enough. I mean, this kid is so good. You know, when Jason Belmonte says that Anthony Simonson will one day carry the torch, I mean, that's pretty high praise. And he showed everybody today, everyone today, why he is a 14-time winner, 5-time major champion winner, and he's only 27 years old. I mean, if he continues this trend, I mean, he could go down as the greatest of all time.
He really could.
Yes, you may.
Coverage of the 2024 PBA season continues Saturday night, February 24th on FS1 at 7:30 Eastern with the Just Bear PBA Indiana Classic from David Smalls Championship Lanes in Anderson, Indiana. Coming up next, Big Ten Conference College Basketball as Northwestern faces Indiana. For Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler, and our entire crew, I'm John Fanta. You've been watching the PBA on FS1, and you've been watching the Pete Weber Classic. Anthony Simonson, the champion.